Right, welcome to this first session of Unit 300, Leading People. In this first session, we're going to look at leadership styles and their influence and the impact of organisational culture, as both of those are closely linked. So the aims of this session are twofold. Firstly, to understand different leadership styles, and secondly, to understand the importance of organisational culture. By the end of this session, you should be able to explain the different leadership styles and identify their strengths and weaknesses, explain the suitability of those different leadership styles in the different situations, describe different cultures that exist within organisations, identify internal and external factors which can affect the organisation's culture, and explain the effect of the organisation's culture that could have on individuals and the team. So let's get started. Right then, so what do we think leadership is? Let's start by sort of getting some sort of baseline of what we think leadership is in comparison, say, to management, although in reality they should both go together. Warren Bennis, who's written lots of books on the subject, wrote a book, Becoming a Leader, in 1989, where he compared leaders to managers. He said that he thought leaders were those that were the driving force. They were the people who were driving the organisation forward, innovating, initiating change, inspiring people to high levels of performance and challenging things, the status quo. He also said that he thought managers, on the other hand, were people who were organising, controlling, maintaining resources and sort of keeping things ticking over. So he thought leadership was about inspiring, motivating, initiating, challenging, innovating and developing. And he thought management was more about controlling, organising, implementing, administering and maintaining things. And he came up with a well-known quote from his book, which I've always sort of held quite close, which is managers do things right while leaders do the right thing. Right then, so let's look at some fundamental recognised leadership styles, and from there we'll be able to examine some common theories and methodologies that they're based on. Psychologist Kurt Lewin in the early 1930s developed a framework that has been the basis for all of them since, really, and it outlined three commonly recognised leadership styles. The first was autocratic, the second was participative or consultative democratic, might be known as, and the third was laissez-faire. In autocratic, the power is definitely with the leader. They have authority over everybody. They have a closed circle, an inner circle of people they would discuss things with. They're very directive. It's a very controlling, and it does benefit some employees who like supervision, who lack confidence, and it can work in emergency situations, but it's not the most inspiring, and it doesn't bring people forward in their sort of development. The second, participative, is about the exact opposite to that, really, the exact opposite to autocratic. It's a very consultative approach. The leader seeks consensus of everybody. He likes people to be involved. He likes the collaborative approach so that people buy into what they're doing and they think about the decisions being theirs. And the final one, laissez-faire, let it be in French, it is often seen as offering no support, no feedback, unmotivating. There are cartoon caricatures of it where the manager's sitting with his feet up, and that sounds bad, but in a good situation where you've got a highly effective team that are experienced, well trained, who require little supervision, highly motivated, don't require any encouragement, it can be very positive for them. They're just left to get on with it. They need little supervision, and therefore they feel comfortable with it. So everything has a situation for its own. Yeah, so for each situation, you can use one of those styles, but these were early thoughts on leadership, and it was still thought that you chose one and you stuck to it, perhaps what you were naturally best at. But as we started to realise that work was more about motivation, development and engagement, we started to realise that that wasn't working. Many eminent people started to develop more sort of complex theories based on these basic things, and they looked at the skills the leader has, the traits they have, the team, the motivation, and they came up with the term sort of situational leadership. Situational leadership is part of a group of theories, contingency theories on leadership, and we'll look at some examples in a minute. Generally speaking, the theory works around the fact that the leader's effectiveness is related to their traits and their behaviours and the differing situations they find themselves in. According to situational leadership theory, the leader is effective if he can adapt and modify his management behaviour to the subordinates or the people he's working with. So the style you choose is based on thinking about the people you're working with and then deciding whether you're going to use autocratic, participative, laissez-faire, and sort of deciding based on a number of factors. And we'll look at some of those factors shortly. So a little break from me talking, and we're going to watch a video 1, Dr. Hersey talking about situational leadership. While you're watching it, I want you to make some notes, because afterwards I'm going to review what was said in the video, but the notes will certainly help you with your end of unit assignment. So watch the video and then make some notes. See you in a bit.